Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by it's not brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. They brought you the last one. They only get one per show. This one's brought to you by Madisonville Marine. If you have to have a boat before the end of the boating season this year, then get down to Madisonville Marine. Joe Special and his team are fantastic. We've told you about the selection of boats. It's never ending. Skeeter, G3, hurricane deck boats, you name it, on and on and on and on. Their prices are fantastic. That's why people buy from them all over East Tennessee. They come from Georgia. They come from Middle Tennessee. They also buy online at madmarine.com from Texas to Florida. They have to ship these boats. But it's the customer service that pushes them way over the top. madmarine.com to learn more. Madisonville Marine on Highway 411 North in Madisonville. Get down there and see them this week. Okay. Joined over at the expert table by Ryan Callahan of GoVols247.com. We're going to talk a little recruiting. It was a good week for the Volunteers. They nabbed 2 blue chippers this past week, moved up to number 8 in 24/7's composite rankings. They were number 11 when we talked 2 weeks ago. They dropped to 15th, now all the way back up to number 8. Tell me about the 5-star and the 4-star they got this week.
Huge pickups. Obviously, anytime you get a 5-star, big deal. This one, 5-star wide receiver Mike Matthews out of the Atlanta area. They beat USC, Clemson, and Georgia for him. So obviously some heavy hitters involved. Yeah. A guy that you've got to love what he brings to the table in Tennessee's offense, especially because he's only about 6'1", so not physically imposing, but he's got a long highlight reel of him on the basketball court, going to the rim and dunking in most cases. So he clearly has great leaping ability, good overall, just speed, athleticism, everything. In Tennessee's offense, not hard to imagine him putting up some huge numbers. So huge priority for Tennessee for a long time, and they beat out some good competition for him. And then Edwin Spillman on Friday, the 4-star linebacker out of Nashville, one of Tennessee's top in-state targets for more than 2 years. They beat out Ohio State for him, was also going to take an official visit to Georgia last month. So clearly a guy that had some good options there, winning some pretty big battles. And these were kind of ones that we thought going into the summer were among Tennessee's best possibilities. But still, to get those across the finish line, that's a big deal.
Right. And, when you're starting to grab guys that Southern Cal and Georgia and Clemson and Ohio State are after, that just shows you're in a more rarefied air. So congratulations to them for that. I want to take a look at this class by position. So let's go ahead and put that graphic up if we could. There you see it. The white column in the center there, that's how many guys they have at each position that they've signed. The numbers over on the right, that's what their star rankings are. And look, those things aren't perfect, but that's all we have to go by right now. And you'll see that anything in orange is a blue chipper, a 4 and a 5-star. And what I see there, and they are doing better, there's no question. You just got a 4-star linebacker away from Ohio State, so that's great. But my concern is, and it's nothing new, it's something I've said on the show for more than a year now, I trust the offense to make the most with less. It's great to have. If it's all 5 stars, terrific. But I would rather them sign a bunch of stars on the defensive side of the ball. The problem is your offense is what's so sexy right now. It's what you're known for. It's easier to recruit over there because of it. But I'm looking for more blue star guys on that, blue chip guys on that defensive side of the ball. And I'm not seeing it yet. Am I looking at it wrong, Ryan?
I wouldn't say you're looking at it wrong. I will throw in, just for variety's sake, we do also offer the 24/7 Sports Composite rankings. Those are referencing the 24/7 Sports rankings. In the composite, you've got 2 other DBs in this class that are 4 stars and another linebacker that's a 4-star. So add that in, and there's a little more depth to this class. But yeah, they do need to, I think, balance out the class a little bit, or at least add some stars on defense. They still can. There are guys out there on the board they still could get. But yeah, it's a better class on the offensive side right now than it is on defense. It's balancing out, I think, starting to get there, but defensive line in particular, you mentioned there's 3 guys in the class right now. Really, you could argue there are 2, because one of those guys, Jeremiah's Hurd, could be an offensive tackle. So they still need to add some defensive line help for sure, but they're getting there, and this class is starting to fill out now with 18 commitments.
And that's going to be the challenge. As I say, the offense is what they're known for, so obviously that's – who are you going to sign? You're going to sign guys that want to come in and set the records, that look at Jalen Hyatt and say, I want to do that, that look at Joe Milton and say, I want to take my arm there. I want to do what Hendon Hooker did. Defensively, that's where people look at it and say, okay, you got deficiency. So that's going to be the harder thing to recruit to. But since your offensive system kind of handicaps your defensive terms, you need some of those guys who can be drive stoppers, those wreckers, and you just need to get a lot of those guys in here. And I think that's going to be the challenge moving forward. So we'll see where that goes. In terms of the lines, how do you feel about the offensive line? So you've got 4 guys on there. You're saying a 5th one could be moved over from the defense. How do you feel about the offensive line?
That's a huge need for Tennessee in this class. You could argue they could use 6 or 7 offensive linemen in this class, which would be unusual, but they're potentially losing 7 after this season. So big group they have to replace if everyone leaves that could leave after this year, and they're still wanting one more tackle. There's one big name out there, Bennett Warren, a top 100 prospect out of Texas. They're battling Michigan for him. So if they can get him, it's a good offensive line class. If you miss him, maybe it's still a little short on tackle going into the season, and they obviously need tackle bodies to give themselves the depth at that position they need.
All right, next name's up. Who are the next guys that you're going to be watching?
Couple more announcements still to come. Kai Bates, a 4-star cornerback, to add to that list of guys that they could potentially add him on Wednesday. He's announcing, and Tennessee and LSU we think are the favorites in that one. I would give Tennessee the slight edge as of right now, but that one's not over. And then on August 5th, this one a little more than almost 2 weeks away now, but Amari Jefferson, 4-star wide receiver out of Chattanooga, big-time battle with Alabama. If Tennessee can land him, you're looking at a heck of a wide receiver class if they can get him done. But still some work to do there. I think Alabama has the slight edge right now, but he's going to visit both schools again this coming week.
Good deal, Ryan. I always appreciate it. When we come back, Greg Sankey talked a lot this week about UT, about SEC expansion, about Oklahoma, about himself. We'll talk about what he had to say, and then we'll get into what Lane Kiffin said about the league. Then we got UT bowl projections. We got UT win total projections. Much more to come on the Sports Source. Stick around with us.